Good evening, fair lords and ladies of Middle-earth, and welcome to the Lair of Film Room. Tonight we will be reviewing Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. Gandalf and Aragorn lead the world of men against Sauron's army to draw his gaze from Frodo and Sam as they approach Mount Doom with the One Ring. Now, I said the other movies were really good, but this one, again, like the others, it has its slow points, but it does deliver on a lot more than they did. Like, we have the three different battles, the massive battle of Minas Tirith, and the battle of the Black Gate. Minas Tirith was the final stronghold of men, ruled over by Boromir's father and his brother Faramir, who we met in the last movie, and we see the horrible life that Faramir lives under his father, forcing him usually on suicidal missions and into unwinnable battles due to his father's hatred of him over Boromir. And we watch as Gandalf goes to them on behalf of Aragorn and the King of Rohan, King Theoden. He goes with Pippin, to ask for their help in the war against the Dark Army, led by Saruman, and at first they decline, the king claiming what has Rohan done for them, and why should they join in their battle. Their home is unbreachable, and that they can handle this themselves. And this leads to Pippin becoming becoming an earl of Stuart Denethor, who at first asks him what happened to Boromir, to which Pippin explains to him that Boromir accompanied him and his party, and he died defending them. While on the other hand, Merry has joined up with Rohan, becoming one of the soldiers to join in the battle at Minas Tirith. We also have, at the beginning of the movie, we see what actually happened to Deagol and Smeagol, and how the ring took over Smeagol, and the slow deterioration of his mind as he gives himself to the ring. Moving on from that, we also watch as Frodo and Sam continue to follow Gollum up to Mount Doom. Sam finally being betrayed by Frodo due to the trickery of Gollum, who was explaining to him that Sam would try to steal the ring from him, when all he was trying to do was help his friend, who was slowly getting crushed by the weight of the ring that he had to carry for so long. And he wanted to help take upon the burden himself. To which this scares Frodo. It kind of turns him into a bit of a Gollum, and this leads to both of them splitting up, and Sam trying to go back down to the mountain where he finds the food that Smeagol threw away while Smeagol is leading Frodo into the caves where he is attacked by I'm looking for the name of the creature. The spider Shelob, who poisons him, and Sam comes back a little too late, ends up killing Shelob, and Frodo is paralyzed and brought to to the orc outpost, where the orcs and the Nazgul are fighting each other over his affections, which causes them to a bunch of the Nazgul and the goblins being killed before the great battle of the Blackgate. While on the other side we have Aragorn, Legolas, Pippin, Merry, Gandalf, and Gimli fighting to defend Minas Tirith from the onslaught of goblins and Nazgul and mercenaries, with the help of the Army of the Dead, which was brought from the City of the Dead, thanks to Aragorn, who promised to release them from the living world once their job is done, to which he gratefully obliges. We get a really amazing battle with these giant elephant creatures, and this just massive battle. We get to see, sadly, we are forced to watch as King Theoden dies at the hands of the Witch King, who then dies at the hands of, I'm looking for her name, who dies at the hands of Theoden's niece, Eowyn, who slays him by stabbing him in the face with help from Merry, to which she is then thought to be dead by Theoden's nephew, thanks to the Black Breath, I believe it's called, that succumbs her and causes her to be paralyzed. And this is after she is after she watches as Theoden dies in her arms, praising her. And so she is taken out of the battle. Faramir is taken out of the battle because his father, the Steward, Denethor, that's his name. Denethor tries to burn him and his son Faramir after thinking he died after the suicide mission he sent him to. Denethor ends up dying, falling off the giant wall of Minas Tirith due to being lit on fire. And so Faramir survives after his suicide run, and in the end he starts falling in love with Eowyn, and then the rest of the forces, including Aragorn and the rest of the gang, go off to the Black Gate to fight the rest of the Nazgul and the orcs and the ring wraiths, to save time for Frodo and Sam, and then we go back to Frodo and Sam. Sam saves Frodo, and they make it finally to Mount Doom, where Gollum finds them. It causes a big battle between them. Pretty short, with Sam hitting Gollum over the head with a rock after he attacks them. Frodo and Sam finally make it to the volcano, and right before Frodo throws the ring in, he stops himself. He becomes hypnotized by the ring, and it takes Gollum to bite his finger off and knock him off a cliff for the ring to finally be destroyed with Gollum, who most of us are probably sad about because, let's be honest, Gollum didn't really deserve what happened to him because, well, I mean, Smeagol didn't deserve it. Gollum was a bastard. But let's be honest, he is a huge representation of drug addicts and drug use and what happens when you have too much of a good thing or too much of a bad thing in the Ring's case. And this led to him finally killing himself to destroy the ring, which, I mean, a lot of people like Gollum. They don't really feel he's a villain. He's just a misunderstood child who just needed help. I mean, his family, we learn at the beginning of the movie, his family gets rid of him because of his addiction to the ring. And because he killed his cousin, Deagle, and nobody wanted to help him. So he ended up going into the Misty Mountains alone and becoming Gollum. And luckily, Smeagol frees Frodo from going down the same path, which he was about to, right before he is knocked off the cliff. To which we have Sam save him, and then the war is won. All the orcs are swallowed up by a giant hole. Aragorn becomes king. Theoden's nephew becomes king of Rohan, and everybody's happy. Everyone bows before the hobbits before they go back to the Shire, and we end the movie off with Sam getting the girl, marrying her, and Bilbo and Frodo going to the Undying Lands, which is pretty much the this world's equivalent of Atlantis / Olympus / whatever the Celtic afterlife is, which it's believed that J.R.R. Tolkien has been referencing the Celtic afterlife in this story due to the poem that he wrote about Saint Brendan going to it by sailing, just like Frodo and the elves and Bilbo. But yeah, I think this tied up this movie and this universe pretty well. I mean, I would have liked to have seen like an excerpt of what happens later on, because apparently there's a story during the Fourth Age about a sorceress who takes over Gondor, brainwashing Faramir and Aragorn, and I wish we could have gotten like a bit of that, or hopefully someday we'll get that a part of a TV show or something. But yeah, I like this movie. I felt it was a good wrap up to the trilogy. The battles were definitely brilliant and big compared to the last two movies. Definitely a huge improvement. The only thing is there was way too much talking. I felt way worse for Faramir, but then again, I do feel that this movie was better than the other two. Like, I definitely would say it's a 10 out of 10 for wrapping up the story pretty nicely, giving us an end to everyone's story, revealing to us the biggest battle in the franchise next to the Battle of the Five Armies, and presenting us with a nice ending to the good versus evil storyline between the men, the elves and the dwarves versus Saruman and the darkness. And just, like, makeup's good, the costumes were brilliant, the idea of having a woman in the final battle was awesome, and I love the girl power storyline in this, where women should be able to be allowed to fight as well, not just men, because it is their home, not just the men's. And honestly, I don't know what to say. Everyone has probably said what needed to be said for the past since 2003, since this movie came out, and since the book came out long time ago. But yeah, I like it. I love it. It's definitely a really long fucking movie with 4 hours and 23 minutes. It's definitely the longest movie in any of the trilogies, and might be the longest movie in history, but I could definitely be wrong. But for what it's worth, I mean, there was padding, there was filler in most parts, but it did work for what it had. I mean, you're trying to make a over 400-hour movie, and definitely a 10 out of 10 for being a really good ending to the story. I mean, if the Battle of the Five Armies was the episode 3 of the franchise, I definitely would say this is the Empire Strikes Back of the franchise, because it does everything right. It provides newer enemies like the giant elephants, and it provides a brilliant threat like the Nazgul, the orcs, and the Witch King. It also provided us with new creatures similar to the last movie where they provided us with Ents. Here we get to watch the Army of the Dead fight, and actually one of the coolest scenes I've seen in this movie was the there's Legolas taking out the giant elephant and everyone on board it, but I think the coolest one is Aragorn taking out one of the orcs, only to have the camera pan off to the side a bit and have us watching the Army of the Dead taking out one giant elephant in just like a horde, and it's just like, it took you how long to kill that orc, but it took these guys not even a couple of seconds to take out this giant elephant. Like, that was a hilarious joke right there. But yeah, it's a really good conclusion, and I'm glad that everyone got a happy ending. And yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, click the little notification bell for more of our content, and if you think your child is dead, maybe check his heartbeat before you decide to burn him at the stake with you, because you're depressed. I mean, come on. Who is that dumb to try and take their son's life when everybody is telling you he is alive? I mean, Denethor, whatever the hell your name is, you've got to be the worst fucking parent in this movie. And I've seen Shelob, who left her children in the woods to die at the hands of the elves. I mean, come on. Anyway, have a great night, guys.